Alright, so a lot of common problems with beginner whip crackers is hitting yourself. And that's probably the main thing that keeps people away from trying whip cracking. So today I'm going to give you some tips on how to prevent hitting yourself with your whip. Now the truth is, if you're gonna crack a whip, you're gonna hit yourself eventually. That's just the sad truth. But you can minimize the pain and the amount of times that you hit yourself by doing a couple of things. So the first, most important thing that you can do is wear eye protection. Now, when you're cracking a whip, you can hit yourself a lot of times. The worst that can happen, besides your eyes, is you'll just get a bad welt. But if you're not wearing eye protection and it hits your eye, then that can do serious damage. So as long as you're wearing any type of eyewear, protective eyeglasses, you don't have to worry about any serious damage being done to yourself. That's number one. Another way you can help prevent the whole whip just from hitting your face is by wearing a hat. A lot of whip crackers, we wear cowboy hats, not just to look the part, but it also helps protect your head, and the brim all the way around helps prevent the whip from smacking into your face as often. Now, of course, the whip can come up around like this, but a lot of times the whip will either swing up or down across the head, and that brim can help protect it. And it also can help protect from the handle, depending what type of whip you're using. Whenever you may swing the whip up, I was talking with a whip cracker, and he said the one time, I can't remember how it happened, but his whip got caught and the handle came up and smacked him on the forehead, and it was bleeding all over the place. So that's another thing the brim can help protect. Another thing you can do, and you can also wear a baseball cap for that. Depending on the stiffness of the brim especially, that can help. But anyways, another thing is when it's cold out, like it is today, wearing a jacket, gloves, any padding really, that'll help protect you. Leather especially helps against that. I know people wear leather gloves when they do targeting tricks, holding out targets for a whip cracker, so that helps as well. And so the main thing is just your clothing, anything you're wearing, see what you can do about that. The last thing I want to say about is when you're learning to crack a whip, a common problem I see among beginners is when they go to crack it, they'll turn away, try to keep the whip out as far away from them as they can. And that's the number one way to hit yourself. When you crack a whip, as we know, a loop needs to be formed and continue out. So if you're gonna, the cattleman's crack needs to be in a straight line. So if you try to go like this and keep the whip out, you can see the handles, it's going out of line, and that's going to bring the whole whip out of line and whack yourself. So when you're cracking a whip, I know it seems like it's going to hit yourself, you're going to hit yourself, but that's when you're doing it right, to be honest. So you can kind of see how close the whip is coming to me. And it does feel like I'm going to hit myself, but obviously I'm not. So angle plays a big part. What you can do is, when you go to learn a new crack, take just a regular stick or just a piece of rope and practice the motion. I recommend taking a stick and watch carefully the whip cracker, the angle of his handle, and then take that stick and record yourself, mimic that angle perfectly, get that stick going in a straight line. And then you can do the same thing with a rope, so that way it's not, a whip that's going to hit yourself, but you still get the motion of the whip. And So you can try that. And then lastly, what you can do is whenever... Alright, sorry about that, guys. My camera died halfway through, so I have to switch over to the phone. But so anyways, as I was saying, when you go to learn a new crack, don't just go all out at it the exact same way as you saw the guy in the tutorial do. You know, it's like with the cattleman's crack, if you're just learning, don't go out there and just like you see the better guys do. You need to take it slowly and in steps, and just do it lightly. You don't need to muscle it. Let the whip do the work. So, you know, with the cattleman's, you need to slowly bring the whip up. And if you're watching this video, you probably know how to do that crack by now anyways. You know, just take it one step at a time, and just let the whip do the work for you. Alright, so just like with any other complicated crack, you know, the Hassix Four Corners, for example, or the Arrowhead, combinations of cracks, you know, just do it lightly, and again, keep that angle right. Don't try to hold it out and try not to hit yourself. It's not going to work. Not like another common one with the overhead crack. You need to keep it in the overhead plane, but a lot of beginners, they'll point the handle up, trying not to hit themselves, thinking that it's going to keep the whip away from them. But the truth of the matter is, when you point that handle up, this whip is going to want to roll vertically. So that's going to hit you. Alright, so those are just a few tips that you can keep in mind when you're learning whip cracking, so you won't hit yourself near as much. So I hope these helped. I'll see you in the next video.